All right, so good morning. And we're going to start sitting in Sukhasana, and let's all put the right leg in front, because then I'll be the only one who has to remember. And we'll just need a couple of blocks, maybe. And here we are, right leg in front. So let's see, I'm going to be the right left mirror here. I think that's actually going to end up too confusing. And speak for myself, right? And then using those arms alongside, lengthening up, feeling space coming between the vertebrae, space in hip sockets, little shifting and squinching. And then slowly releasing with the arms. And letting the hands rest on the knees. Inhale and exhale, pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders. Lengthening up through the center line, out the top of the head. And you can close the eyes or just soften them, bringing your attention even more inside yourself. Feeling your breath, letting it slow down, getting a little longer, a little deeper. And then we will reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale, breathing those arms up. Inhale and exhale, breathing down. And let's do that twice more. And then hands on the knees, lifting up and back, lifting the upper chest up. And we'll reach long and forward, and then contract and rounding back up, rippling back up. Let's do that 3 more times, approximately. Maybe you're going a little faster or a little slower, and come up with a different number. And then we are going to circle around front and to the right side and back and left. And 3 more times around like that. And then I lost count, as I so often do. Well, we'll call this one 3. And then we'll go the other direction 4 times all together. And then we will round back, and we will take our rippling front and back the other direction, guiding the head forward, leading with the upper chest, coming back up 3 times. And then on a 4th time, we'll dive forward and be in the forward bend. And since I was talking, I lost count again. But sometime soon, we'll be in the forward bend, pouring over. Inhaling and exhaling, resolving that body into stillness, but still feeling the rippling energy of the breath moving through the body. And then let's walk our hands over to the right diagonal. And we'll do our turning inside out. Left hand on the right knee or maybe on the floor if it works better that way, turning inside out. And a big swoop around with the right arm over to the left diagonal. And then right hand on the left knee or the floor or however works for you, twisting open to the left. And then swooping back around to the center. Coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae, back up on top of the sitting bones. Inhale and exhale. And then let's come on to all fours. All right. And then let's extend the left leg back with the toes tucked under. So now I'm doing my real left here. Pressing back into the heels, stretching down the back of that left leg. And you can stay here or maybe lifting the right leg up in the hover plank, making that left leg stretch more. And setting the right knee down, switching legs. We'll extend the right leg back, pressing back into the heel. We'll watch those hands, make sure they're not rotating in. And then maybe lifting the left leg up in the hover plank, making that right leg stretch more. Setting the left knee down, pulling back into child's pose for a couple breaths. And coming up to downward facing dog. And walking the dog or anything else you want to do there. And then being in the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment. Nothing moving but the breath. Come down, sitting back in child's pose. And sliding forward onto our stomach into the Sphinx. Pulling back with the elbows, pulling back with the hands, especially the outer edge of the arms. And reaching back through the toes, tailbone into the floor. And then not just being propped up on the arms, but we'll contract and lift through the back muscles. And breathing here. And then really bridge posing into the floor, bending the knees, reaching the heels and the upper back for each other. Pressing that pelvis down a little more. Lifting up. And extending the legs out. Maybe there's a little more lift in the upper body, but the shoulders stay down. And if you really want to get that bigger lift and you don't quite have space, go ahead and move the hands a little more forward or a little wider. Again, trying to work the back muscles, pulling up away from the arms. And then calming down. Deep breath. And let's bring those hands around behind, interlocking the fingers. And then not too much lift in the upper body yet, kind of low and parallel to the floor. And let's just reach through the right leg and lift the right leg up. One-legged Salabhasana, really focusing on lifting that right leg, keeping it really straight, pulling up with the back of the thigh. Reaching the right leg down, and then we'll do the same with the left. Reaching long, lifting the left leg. And reaching the left leg back down. Release the hands for a moment. Just kind of come down easily on the floor. And let's interlock the fingers again. Rolling the shoulders out. Lengthen to lift in Salabhasana, both legs, and a little more intention to lift in the upper body. And slowly release the hands, palms face the ceiling. And then we're just going to come down here and turn the head to the right, bringing the right ear to the floor, keeping the palms up on the hands so the backs of the hands are on the floor. Deep breath. And then we're going to lift right back up in Salavasana, reaching through the toes and fingertips, pressing up, squeezing the upper arms toward each other. And then lengthening down, turning the head left, bringing that right ear to the floor. And then lifting up in Salavasana again. Oh no, not again. Roll those upper arms out, squeeze them toward each other. Calming down. And then we will make our way back up to downward facing dog. Breathing here. Making a nice back bending counter stretch. And then we will lengthen forward to the plank, going through the vinyasa, any version, and we're going to pause in our upward facing dog or cobra, whichever one you happen to end up in. Taking a few breaths there. And if you're in suspended upward facing dog, letting the knees come down. And then we'll sort of ooze ourselves down to the floor onto our belly again. Reaching long through the toes and bending the knees, getting hold of the ankles. And we will come up in the bow pose. Calming down, and let's come down for a brief rest, turning the head to the right, really deliberately putting that left ear on the floor, making that kind of a whole thing, the turning of the head. And then we'll get reorganized and do that bow pose once again, bending the knees, getting hold of the ankles, lengthening to the left. Calming down, turning the head left, right knee to the floor, right ear to the floor. And then we will take ourselves back up to downward facing dog. Couple deep breaths there. And with a nice counter pose to back bending hips. And then we will go through the vinyasa, any version. So this time we'll go back to downward facing dog and I'll meet up there. Three deep breaths here in this downward facing dog of this moment. Coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And then coming up, and let's sit with the left leg in front, Sukhasana. Probably thought I've forgotten by now. All right, left leg in front. And so we're going to do all that rippling once again. So getting yourself here. We'll lengthen up. And we'll reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. And let's do 3 times of our up and down arms again. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Might be a very different experience than doing this at the beginning of class before we've done anything else, or maybe not so different. And then hands on the knees, lifting up and back, coming forward, leading with the upper chest and rounding back. And we'll do that 3 more times. So we're doing each ripply thing approximately 4 times altogether. And then we'll circle around to the left first. And then going around to the right as you're ready. And then we'll do our front and backs the other direction. Rounding back, diving forward, lifting up with the upper chest and up and over. And 3 more of those. And we'll be finishing in the forward bend. And then as you're ready, pouring out into the forward bend. Inhale and exhale. Letting the body come into stillness. And then really feeling the subtle body and the breath. And we'll walk our hands over to the left diagonal. And right hand on the left knee, twisting open. This time we'll add the side bend, reaching that left arm forward and over here. And a big swoop around over to the right diagonal. And left hand on the right knee, twisting open, turning inside out. And then reaching that right arm over the ear into a side bend. And a big reach around, coming back to the center. And unfurling the spine back up on top of the sitting bones. And then let's come up in downward facing dog. And if you happen to still need some more dog walking, maybe doing that. All right. And then really feeling into the two straight parallel sides, the straight parallel center lines, all the opposites of all that rippling and twisting and side bending, inside outing. Ah. And then we will lift our right leg, reaching long through the heel. Keep those arms nice and strong, reach to the right foot, and then we'll hover plank, right knee forward. Stretching long through the left leg. And back up to three-legged dog. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And through to the lunge. Long line from the top of the head out that left heel. And then we'll bring the left knee down and Jayasana. And then just a half circle down and around and into the eagle pose with the right arm under so you can hold the shoulders or wrapping those lower arms. And then releasing the arms, coming up, let's turn to the elephant rider. Feet on the diagonal, arms on the inside of those knees, pressing those legs out, big stretch in the inner thigh. And then let's slide toward our right leg, toward the front. Put the left hand on the floor, really pressing into that right inner thigh using the arm. And then sliding across to the left toward the back leg. And then sliding toward the front, and we'll turn to the lunge and stepping forward. Into the concave back, halfway up, holding over. Taking a deep breath or two here. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Letting those back muscles engage a little like a Salabhasana locust pose in the air. And then pressing the arms down all the way around to Namaste in front. Inhale and exhale, Namaste stays. And then making our way back over, big lift up. And diving concave back, folding over, jumping or stepping back, vinyasa or not, downward facing dog. And then we will go around on the left, lifting the left leg up. And hover plank, knee forward, really stretching long through the right leg. And back up to three-legged dog. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hunch. And through to the lunge. And then bringing that right knee down and Jayasana. And a big half circle, reach down, and the left arm will come under. You can hold the shoulders or wrapping the arms for the eagle pose. And releasing the arms. Turn into the elephant rider. And then we'll slide to the left toward the front of the mat. So this is still about doing a big stretch. And then sliding to the right toward the back, also known as the other side. It doesn't really matter. And back to the center. And then keeping the outer rotation, we'll straighten the legs into the forward bend. Spiraling up from the arches of the feet around into the sitting bone. And then keeping the outer rotation, let's come up into a three-pointed star. Pulling the pubic bone and tailbone toward each other, really engaging in those lower abdominal muscles. Pressing the arms down and wide, feet to parallel. All right, so right leg, back of the mat leg, rotates out 90 degrees. And then make sure that left foot is its own parallel 90 degrees to the short edge of the mat there. And into the warrior two, bending the right knee, inner thigh to the inner knee to the center of the foot. And then reaching back through the left leg. Good. Dancing warrior, bringing that right arm up and away. Anchoring the right sitting bone down. And into the triangle trikonasana, straightening up the right leg, tilting over. Long extended sides. And then come back up to standing and turning the feet to parallel. Deep breath. And we'll rotate the left leg out 90 degrees. Should be the front of the mat leg, more important, the other leg. And then into the warrior two. Inner thigh to the inner knee to the center of the. It's reaching back through that right leg too. And dancing warrior, bringing the left arm up, left sitting bone heavy toward the floor. And into the triangle trikonasana. Inhale and exhale, tilting. Really feeling that breath. And then reaching through the right arm, coming back up to standing, turning the feet to parallel. Reaching out wide and just bringing those arms up over. And coming forward and over. Now we're in our forward bend with parallel straight legs. Might not feel that much different to you than a rotated out, or maybe it does. And then we'll turn to the left lunge toward the front of your mat. And stepping forward. Into the concave, back halfway up. Folding over. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to Namaste in front. Breathing here, Samastiti stillness. And then big front body yawn. Pelvis forward, upper body reaches back, and then we're going to the chair pose. So we lift up and reverse that. Hips go back, upper body comes forward. Pulling more back, lifting more up. And releasing over. And we'll make our way back to downward facing dog, the usual concave back, folding over, vinyasa or not, downward facing dog. And Getting those hands forward. So remember, you have to pick up, it's not just the fingers, the whole base of the wrist. So the whole thumb, there we go, yeah. All right. Now we're into our pass off warrior number 1. Lifting our right leg up through to the lunge. Coming up in the warrior number 1. And letting yourself arrive there for a breath. And then reaching forward and down, stepping back to downward facing dog, passing off to the left leg that lifts up. And through to the lunge. And warrior number 1 on the left, moving efficiently but not rushing. Letting yourself be there. And then coming forward. Stepping back to downward facing dog. Passing off to the right leg, which lifts up. And through to the lunge. And warrior number 1 on the right again. And this time we will stay arriving here, and here we are. And let's reach forward on a long diagonal. And then swooping the arms back, pressing the backs of the hands up toward the ceiling, reaching through the fingertips. And then we'll let the hands pull us back up into the warrior 1. Scooping down and under with the pelvis, up and over with the upper back. Let's do that 3 more times. Reaching forward, arms swing back, resist a moment, and then letting them pull you up. Twice more. And then breathing in your warrior 1 again. Namaste in front. And namaste into the floor. Stepping back to the plank. Through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And let's come down. Sitting back in child's pose. I don't know how your thighs are feeling, especially the top of the right thigh, but mine are a little tired. And we still have to go left or right. And so sometimes you can come up and simplify virasana if you want. And so for some of us, it doesn't necessarily feel like such a big stretch sitting here for the top of the thighs, but it is. We're stretching 3 of the quadriceps, the ones that just start at the top of the thigh. Oh, that felt it. And go across the knee joint here. And then there's a 4th one that comes up across the hip joint. That's that big tendon there, which is why it doesn't necessarily feel like an intense stretch, because that one's often the tighter one. But it still is a stretch and release for those thigh muscles, the 3 of the quadriceps, and a little bit for the 4th one. All right, let's do left, right, left. Coming back up to downward facing dog. If you want to do another vinyasa on the way, you can. I'm going to not, if you're coming along with me. All right, let's lift our left leg up. And through to the lunge. Coming up in warrior number one. Arriving there and coming back down, stepping back to downward facing dog. Passing off to the right leg and through to the lunge. Coming up in the warrior one. Arriving there. And coming back down. Stepping back to downward facing dog. Lifting the left leg up. Through to the lunge. And warrior number one. And breathing into the pose a little more deeply now. And then reaching forward on a long diagonal. And swinging the arms back. So let's pause a little longer this first time. Pressing back through the upper arms, reaching through the fingertips. And then we'll let that reaching through the fingertips pull us back up to the warrior one. Pelvis and tailbone scoop down and under. Upper body comes up and over. Let's do that 3 more times. Reaching forward, reach back, resist just for a moment, and then coming back up. And twice more. And breathing here. Namaste in front. And into the floor. Step back to the plank. Vinyasa, downward facing dog. And 3 deep breaths here in this downward facing dog. Coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And coming up. And let's sit in Konasana, the angle pose. Whichever way. So we're doing one side and then the other. So if you do the other right side and left side, that doesn't matter. All right. Oh, actually, this will work out. Then we're all mirrors. Oh boy. Okay. All right, here we are in Konasana. Unfortunately, for this moment anyway, there's no left and right. And giving a little lift up, giving space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. And then gently easing your way forward, pushing with the arms, maybe the hands onto the legs or in front. Inhaling into the center of the body, exhale, pouring. And then coming up, and we'll bend the right leg, or the mirror right leg, or whichever leg. All right, so we have one long leg and one short leg in the half dragon fly. And let's twist to the right toward the bent leg. And left hand onto the left leg, reaching behind you, and then still twisting right as we come into the side bending in Parvrita Janu Shirsasana. Inhale and exhale, still feeling that twist up toward the ceiling. Get the left toes up there toward the ceiling as well, trying to keep the back of that left leg, the straight leg, flat and long on the floor. And then pulling with the right arm down to face the left leg. Getting those ribs around, all those internal organs around. And then coming forward over the left leg in Janu Shirsasana. Yeah. And then we'll switch legs. Bending that right leg out, bending the left. Reaching long from that left knee to the right heel. And we'll twist to the left toward the bent leg. And then right hand on the right leg behind you. Feeling that twisting to the left. And Parvrita Janu Shirsasana, bringing the left arm up and over into the side bend. Lengthening over that right leg, still twisting up toward the ceiling though. Nice strong right leg. And then pulling down with that left arm, turning to face the right leg. And coming over your right. And coming up. And then we will go to Shavasana. Making our way down to floor. Inhale and exhale, feeling that wonderful surrender to gravity, surrender to the earth. Sliding the legs out to straight, giving them a little shake. Back so the hands on the floor, palms to the ceiling. Inhale and exhale, letting go a little more. And with every breath, a little more. Or maybe you can think of it as a little less. Letting that breath slow down. And then breathing back into your body, into the room. Moving those fingers and toes, getting the circulation going. Stretching the arms up overhead. And the knees. And gently making your way up to sitting. Sitting in any comfortable position with a long and spacious spine. Taking another moment, sitting quietly inside yourself. And namaste. Thank you for coming. All right.